Hello, distinguished friends and colleagues. This is Stuart Hamilton, the Pro-Life Activities Coordinator for the Archdiocese of Louisville, Kentucky, serving under Deacon Stephen Bowling. And this is 5 Minutes for Life, where we take 5 minutes to discuss one topic, one ministry, or one event that affects the pro-life movement here in the state of Kentucky. Well, happy Lent. It has been since late January since I made one of these videos. And what I'd like to do here is update you on a couple of state laws dealing with unborn human life and a couple of very important federal Supreme Court cases dealing directly with abortion. If you don't want to hear the whole video, at least skip to the end of the video, the last couple of minutes, while I'll be talking about those Supreme Court cases. They are extremely important. But let's start here in the state of Kentucky. The first law that I would like to update you on is House Bill 711. Now, House Bill 711 does a lot of good things. It actually better defines what constitutes a threat to the health of the mother when it comes to emergency abortions. We really do need that definition, but unfortunately, what it goes on to do is grant exemptions for abortion in the cases of rape. Now, of course, that puts this bill at odds with Catholic Church teaching. The Catholic Church would say, regardless of how you're conceived, even if you're conceived in rape, you are made in the image of God and your life is worthy of protection. House Bill 711 actually grants rape exemption, which is very popular politically, but unfortunately is at odds with the dignity of human life, even of these children that are conceived in rape. We want to keep our eyes on 711, and we also want to be very consistent in how we talk about this human life conceived in rape. Now, the second bill that I want to talk about here in the state of Kentucky actually has to do with in vitro fertilization. An argument surrounding this bill actually started in Alabama. The Alabama Supreme Court in the late February handed down a very controversial ruling dealing with in vitro fertilization. Basically, what had happened there in Alabama is a woman at a fertility clinic wandered into an unlocked lab and accidentally destroyed several embryos belonging to several different families. Now, these families sued the fertility clinic for death of a minor due to negligence. They were saying these were our children. They were conceived in a lab and they were being frozen in a lab, yes, but they were our future children and they lost their lives due to the negligence of the fertility clinic. And the Alabama Supreme Court agreed with them. They granted legal personhood to these embryos on behalf of the family so they could sue the fertility clinics. Well, this set off a political chain of events in which lawmakers from both sides of the political spectrum have been rushing at the state level and at the federal level to protect fertility clinics by granting blanket absolution on how they deal with this embryonic human life in their labs. Now, I don't want to get into the church teaching on in vitro fertilization in this video. I just want to talk about the laws. I will be making future videos about this, and I've written a long-form article that I'll link in the description here. But what I do want to talk about is how a new law has been introduced in Kentucky, House Bill 757, and basically it declares that any embryo outside of the womb is not an unborn child. Now, there are legal experts who are pro-life, and there's even people from the USCCP warning that such blanket statements will weaken our ability to protect all unborn human life. As a matter of fact, there are 3 women now suing the state of Kentucky for their abortion laws, and what they are saying is they have a right to in vitro fertilization. And if the abortion laws of Kentucky are applied equally, then what they do in a fertility clinic could be considered an abortion technically. So they're trying to undo the abortion laws based on their rights for in vitro fertilization. Now, what all of this is pointing out is that there is an inconsistency in American law when it comes to embryonic human life. Why should fertility clinics get a pass on how they dispose of embryonic human life when abortion clinics don't? And we are going to have to further define this legally, and we're going to have to deal with this in one way or the other. But we're going to watch what happens with House Bill 757. Now let's go to the federal Supreme Court. The federal Supreme Court is hearing two cases that involve abortion. The first one is coming out of Idaho, Moyle versus the United States. And basically what this case is seeking to do is limit the federal government's ability to define for states what constitutes an emergency when it comes to emergency abortions. So basically in Idaho, they have very strict abortion laws, and they're saying it's only for the life of the mother, and they want the ability to define what the life of the mother is at the state level, and they're saying the federal government should not be able to define that for the state. So let's watch that case. But the most important federal Supreme Court case dealing with abortion has just been taken up from Texas. And the Supreme Court's going to be hearing arguments here against the chemical abortions. Okay, now basically what this case is saying is that misoprostol, which is the chemical that causes chemical abortions, is too dangerous to allow to be ordered through the mail. Now, you probably realize this by now, but the FDA lifted all regulations on mail order chemical abortions, even for minors. So anyone can order a chemical abortion regardless of age across state lines, and they do not need currently a doctor approval or consultation. That means some 15-year-old could get several chemical abortion kits, take the chemicals inappropriately, and land herself in the emergency room due to inappropriate use of these chemicals. So basically, the Supreme Court is hearing a case which is saying this is too dangerous to allow mail order drugs, and at the very least, people need to have doctor consultation before they can have access to it. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of Texas, essentially it will drastically limit the amount of chemical abortions that can take place. And this would be a good thing for the entire United States of America. So the USCCB has called for national prayer. They've actually provided a prayer, which I'm going to link in the description of this video, and they want us to pray to St. Joseph from March 25th all the way to when the Supreme Court handles down the decision. So pray daily for this decision because it could save millions upon millions of lives. All right, so that's all I have for you today. If you like what I'm doing, please hit that like button. Please hit the notification bell for future videos, which I'll be putting out a lot about this in vitro fertilization stuff soon. If you like what I'm doing here, please hit those buttons. And remember, every human life is worth fighting for because every human life has value in the eyes of God. God bless you. We'll see you here next time.